It's been a
Yeah.
go. Yeah, it's been
Okay.
wonderful so far. And thank you
Yes.
to Patricia, David, and Kiara so far for the wonderful downloads and awareness that's been raised. So looking forward to Reverend Angie LaRue. So let's bring her on and
Okay.
carry on. And guys, share this out with friends and family. Share it on YouTube, share it from Facebook, wherever you're watching this from. Share it out and give it a like. Drop us some comments. If you guys got any questions, drop them in cap locks so that they are easier for us to single out, and then we can ask those questions. Thank you, Reverend Angie LaRue. Thank you very much for being here. Nice to see you again. It's been a year, and you're looking
Hello.
as awesome as always. So welcome and thank you.
Hi, Ange.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. This Earth 2023.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you for hosting to all of you
Sure.
involved in this Earth Day 2023. And how
Well,
is my volume? How's my sound?
it's okay. Your internet is a little chunky, but we'll hope that it'll be fine. Okay.
Yeah, that might be the storm that we're having.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're having a snowstorm here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I was so excited about to introduce everyone to Angie, if you didn't get to meet her last year when she was on, Angie LaRue is a remarkable teacher, guide, priestess, reverend, healer, Christologist, Reiki master, etc., etc., etc. And today we're going to talk a lot. Well, she's going to share a lot about some of her products that can really help you, because it is Earth Day, help us with all the energy changes that we're going through right now here on the Earth. Right, Ange?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Hear you. Yeah. Is that bad?
Yes. Well, we'll just see what we
Okay.
can do.
If you want me to step away, I can see if there's something I can do.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you want to come out and come back
All right,
in, I
that's
can.
really
Sure. Okay. Okay. In the meantime, I can show.
locally in the
Okay, I'm going to take Angie off of the screen for now. Angie has been a dear friend of mine for years, and what she's going to hopefully talk about, and we have a film, she's going to show how she makes these amazing energy devices. This is in resin. And this is called a holy hand grenade. Holy hand grenade. And then this is, it's a little dusty. Here, this is another one. I have these right by my router on my computer. And then she also makes these. Here's the mama one.
Oh, wow, Kathy, you are just loaded. Holy
She only made 3 of these, and I couldn't help it. But look at this. Look at how cool this is. So this is baby. This is what will protect you from your router. And then this is, I've got this in a copper ring, sharing the energy in the neighborhood.
Good on you.
Here, anyway. And then she makes these, and we'll see how she makes them. She'll actually, the video shows her making them. These are each, they fit in your palm, and they actually, each one of them has a different frequency embedded into them. So they're healing. Is that one upside down? Maybe it is. Here, sorry. Can you see that?
Yep.
So this one's 852. So these have crystals and metal, and it's called organite is what this is called. It's actually well documented since the 1800s, I think, that it works. And I just love it. And we thought, I mean, Angie is an artist as well. She's well published. She is known all around the world as an artist. So you can see what she's done with these. Aren't they amazing?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So when I saw this, she only had 3 of them. I was like, mine. Is it? I mean, I know you said we shouldn't be consumers, but sometimes we can.
Yeah, well, I mean, consuming by,
Books.
corporate, from the corporate level, right? Like
Right.
Walmart's and, things like that, to where we don't need to, keep them in business. We can buy the same thing, locally if we want. But, that's beautiful art, and, we can consume that. And it's good to consume that, right? Because it's got benefits and frequency.
Yeah,
and
it's
things
functional
like that.
art. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
this is. I mean, look how beautiful. I have a bunch of. I can go downstairs and get more. Well, it's been years. I didn't get them all at once. I wasn't a greedy person, but the thing is I'm so sensitive to energies. This is how I can be on the computer all the time. I could not do what I do for a living without these. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I was so excited to hear Angie talk about it, so
Cool.
that she could share.
Let's
So
just quickly bring on our star sister Uruk Vibe, because she does the same things with resin and sacred stones and things like that. So, I think this is a beautiful fit here. And I actually got Uruk making me some pyramids for my wedding coming up, and we're going to be putting them down as centerpieces on each table, right? And I just sent her the stones that we're going to be using. And as soon as she said that, Eric came to mind. I was like, wow, look at this. We got a beautiful sync going on. So Eric, maybe, just stay on screen, shut your camera off. And, after, Angie's done her download, maybe you can jump in there. And, since you guys we got all that in common, so we'll get some divine feminine energy going here.
Yeah.
So off we go. Here we go.
Great. Thank you. So Ange, how's it doing now? Talk to me.
You guys do not seem to be cutting out now. How is my voice now? Okay. Wonderful.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I did a little song and dance in the interim, but it was Vanna White, the show and tell.
Yay. Well, and fortunately, you're very familiar with what I do and with my work, and so you're the hostess with the mostest. Thank you, Kathy.
I love your work. Okay, so why don't I give you full screen, and you can let me know when you want me to put the video up. But please share a little bit about all of the ways that your work helps the earth. Okay. It helps us and there. Okay.
All right. Wonderful. Hello, everyone, and happy Earth Day 2023. And I'm so glad you could join for this. We are celebrating Earth, talking about Earth. Gaia is what we are all composed of. Our everything that went into making our physical bodies came from Gaia, from Earth. And then our spirits, that animating consciousness inside of us, of course, came from the great creator. But today we're really kind of focused on Earth and how that influences our life. And my talk is the feng shui of humans and Earth and getting the most out of where we live. So on the Earth, there are many different types of frequencies, and these are created by what's under the Earth, the types of minerals and water and different things, different types of metals and deposits. And then also what's on the surface. And then, so what happens is where we live determines the prevalent energy which is influencing us. And that influence is going to factor into our health, our emotional well-being, and even our evolution of consciousness. There's some places to live that are much better than others for evolving our consciousness. And part of that can be determined by ley lines and key lines. These are predominant energy lines that run across the earth. And there's also some sublines that are often referred to as synchronic lines. So wherever it is that we live, we can actually improve what is available. So things that we want to look at. So I guess what I'm saying here is that if we're struggling, if we have a little bit of ill health, it seems like we're not doing as well as we should, or we seem to be dampened down and not have as much life force energy, there's many things that could be. One of those things is where we live. And so a good investigation to do is to understand the history of where you live. Was your neighborhood or your, where you live, was it built on maybe a burial ground? Was it built on a battleground? Was it built on a ground that was avoided by the prior occupants? Maybe the indigenous natives of the land, had stories about this land always catches on fire, for example, or this land causes ill health. And so if we know the history of the land, that helps us to understand what it is that we can do to mitigate it. Or maybe we don't actually want to live there anymore when we discover that. So the current layout of the land in terms of what humans have built is also going to be an energetic influence on where we live. So are there industrial areas nearby? Are there parks nearby? Are there airports nearby? Are there wildlands nearby? How about government buildings or universities or cathedrals? All of these are going to emit a very loud, energetic signal, which is going to influence and impact our lives. And maybe it's a good thing and we really like it. And maybe that's something we're going to have to work with so that we can have a higher quality of life. Other things is the natural layout of the land, the feng shui of the land. So, for example, the energy which is produced out of the earth, it's coming out of mineral veins and just all types of things produce a field around the earth. And that field will move with the lay of the land. So, if we live up on a mountainside, for example, the energy moves very quickly. It flows a lot. And, depending on the flow of that energy, that can either revitalize us and refresh us, or if it flows too fast, it can drain us and be sucking energy out of us. The same if we live at the bottom of the mountain. How is that flow influencing? Is it adding to or is it subtracting? Gently rolling hill areas tend to be really good. The chi of the land, the feng shui of the land tends to be really good with that. Living near rivers, again, it depends on the flow of the river, but it can be that it's pulling out the energy in a really good way, leaving us feeling refreshed and revitalized and lots of energy for living life. But maybe it's flowing in a stagnant way and carrying a lot of industrial waste, and we end up feeling slightly toxic, slightly poisoned, right? Or maybe it's moving in such a way that, like the mountains, it strips energy from us. So these are factors, and every different area is going to have a different nuance, but you can feel it. You can feel when you drive into an area that refreshes you and makes you feel alert versus, driving into an area that just kind of is congested and drains you, right? So this is what we're really talking about with where we live, these influences, and there's just so many of them. So swamps, for example, have a very distinct energy, which can be a stagnant energy. And again, that's going to determine what the flow of water, if it's more towards like marshlands and there's a little bit more flow, that can actually be very invigorating, very life-filled, right? Where swamps tend to have a lot more rotting vegetation and stuff, which has a distinct frequency, energetic signature. One of the things that we deal with the most as humans is very congested areas which have a lot of EMFs, right? So cell phones, power lines, microwaves, Wi-Fi, routers, Bluetooth, computers, appliances even. And then things that are not even in our house, like x-rays and CAT scans and magnetic resonating imaging, right? So a lot of the imaging stuff, those signals leave the labs, leave the doctor's offices, and they just keep traveling, right? And it could be they're traveling right through our body. So basically, all electrical and magnetic fields, or EMFs, are produced anywhere electricity is used. And then if we have devices which are kind of faulty, my laptop that we're broadcasting from today, for example, puts out if you hold a EMF detector up to it, it red zones. It's high in the hazardous thing. And right now, depending how many inches I am away from the bottom of my laptop is going to depend where on the scale that red line is at, but it's extremely over in the unhealthy. And right now it's actually pointing at my heart. So that's a bad thing. And so I've done a lot of different protections, tried to make a Faraday cage, and I have some other things to kind of protect myself. But the bottom line is I can't be on this computer very long. It actually creates a burning sensation in my body. So if you're working on a laptop a lot or a cell phone and you notice burning, cell phone, it could be a burning feeling in your head, or laptops, it could be if it's in your lap, the lower gut or the stomach area, which keep in mind, that's, baking your innards or killing off the flora and fauna in your gut, leading to digestion and gas and flatulent problems, right? So these are all things that if we bring consciousness to, we can solve, right? And if we don't bring consciousness to them, then they kind of influence our life. Our life is a little bit controlled, and the outcome of our life is controlled by these things which we haven't noticed or we weren't aware of, right? In a lot of cases, we just didn't realize. Now, when we talk about good energy, we've all been to national parks and different places where it just feels so good, right? And behind me here on the wall is actually, this is a photograph of the Garden of Gods. And this is Upthrow Sandstone down in Colorado, called the Garden of Gods. This is a place that has amazing energy. It just feels so good to be there, just walking around in it. And it's used to be something that was more local, but the last time I was there was people from all over the world there. So it's that energy and the vista and the stunning beauty of the place is really starting to attract a lot of people. But living near the Garden of Gods, you get the effects of that energy. And there's places like that all over the world. So, wherever it is that you live, is going to be a upwelling, from Earth herself, a gift to you. And, even if you can't live near it, in it, on the edge of it, you can go visit it, right? And a lot of times just spending a half a day in an area like this will replenish you on a cellular level. And there's also things that we can do in our homes. And I suspect a lot of the listeners out here are pretty knowledgeable. And so you already know about the effects of having different types of crystals in your home, right? So things like big chunks of rose quartz, big chunks of smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is very grounding. Big chunks of amethyst, right? And there's different places you can place these in the home where they become even more effective. Another thing, if it's not so big that you can't take it outside, or maybe you have it on something with wheels and can roll it outside and sun it, that charges it, right? Kind of like when we eat, it charges us and gives us energy. Photons give crystals energy. And then when we bring them back in the house, the field in which they radiate from is much, much larger. And so crystals is a way that we can mitigate the energy in our house. And another way that we can do it, plants, You go into a botanical garden or somebody's house that has a bunch of plants, or a nursery. Delicious energy, right? Or sitting under a big tree, very delicious energy. So that's an easy thing you can do in your home is, bring in crystals or plants. Crystals are much more low maintenance, except you do need to sun them every now and then, and maybe even clear them. Lots of things online about how to clear crystals. If you can't find anything or don't know, please contact me. I'm a crystallologist and I can tell you how to do that. You can also use Reiki symbols, or, if you know other traditions that have symbols that have certain intention, you can do those symbols on the walls or around the perimeter of your house, the perimeter of your land. And that's going to change, affect, and mitigate some of the bad influences. And another thing is playing solfeggio music in your home, right? Just in the background. So 528 hertz music, you can find this on YouTube, you can buy it, is a beautiful frequency that you can put out into your home to start overriding any influences in your home from electronics, prior occupants, things happening in the neighborhood, big cell towers. Well, it's not going to mitigate the cell tower, but it makes the cells of your body healthier, and that helps you resist these different EMFs that are coming at us. So if we can amplify our own field, strengthen our cells, and strengthen our auric field, it helps us to take less damage from the EMFs. And so, it's another way to mitigate that damage. And let's see. So what I do is I reorder Mother Nature's natural minerals and crystals to create filtration systems. And okay. So I'm going to show you right beside me. So one of the things I do is I make orgone generators. This is in the tradition of Wilhelm Reich. He's the one who kind of first really jumped into discovering this. So the information has been known throughout the eons in different ways, and it gets lost again. This was done a lot during the Lemurian Empire, at times during the Atlantean Empire, and then, we get our memories wiped and have to start over and relearn it. In this epoch, Wilhelm Reich is the one who kind of did a lot of the early scientific discoveries and brought this forward. And so when I had the awakening of consciousness, Spirit started training me on this and just put it all over my path. And pretty soon I started manufacturing and developing it. So I'm going to show you one right now, right beside me. Kathy showed you quite a few different types. These are all different lines of it that do different things. We're working with frequency and what we want to do with that. The one beside me is a Cloudbuster. This is the largest one I've ever made. This is about the size of a 5-gallon bucket with about 4-foot tall copper pipes coming out of it. And if you put this out in your yard, it will actually cause nature to rebalance itself. And so if you're in an area that's been in a drought for a long time, it will start gathering clouds. Or if you're in an area that's been getting more rain than normal, it will start clearing it up. And I've actually had people say that they were able to find where I live without using their GPS because there was literally a pillar of clouds above my house. So they work and they're really amazing. So I have a video here if you would like. Oh, Kathy, or Ronnie, that's a very useful YouTube you've just put up. And I'm going to give you a little peek today into the magic workshop. This is where we make all these things, and we make the frequencies and we make the orgone generators. Orgone generators clean up. They're like an air filter for the energy, which is what we've been talking about. They clean it up and like an air filter, they pull out all the bad energies. They compost them, filter them, and put out good energies in return. So let's go ahead and start that. And it has no sound. I'll be talking over it and describing a little bit. So if you've never got to see an orgone generator manufacturing area and everything that goes into it, this will be interesting for you. So these are finished, different types, different sizes, different kinds. People who have beehives like to buy the small ones and put them in front of the hives. It gives more energy to the bees, helps them through the winter. So involved in actually manufacturing this is a huge amount of metals. We work with aluminum, half-aluminum, tantalum, titanium, copper, brass, bronze, and we work with all different types of crystals as well. So to actually make an effective ones for yourself takes a very large amount of knowledge and a huge investment in all the different things to make it. And it took quite a few years to learn how to get this right. And one of the ladies I know actually is able to channel Wilhelm Reich. And while in channel state, I'm able to hand him finished products. And he, tells me how I can make improvements on them. So what I'm working with here is a series of crystals put into a tube and wrapped with Tesla type wrapping. And this will create a product that has a toroidal field. So the orgone generators, most of them put out a spray like a sprinkler in your yard. This particular type creates a toroidal field. We work with selenite with this one. Selenite is the second highest naturally occurring frequency on Earth at 244.5 megahertz. So this is really used by spiritual practitioners and healers to set an energy in their space that their clients come into, which helps evolve their consciousness and heal their body. Selenite is also considered a bridge state to fifth and sixth dimensional consciousness and the angelic realm. So being surrounded by this particular frequency really helps evolve your consciousness, is particularly focused on that. Here we're seeing the inside workings of what's called a holy hand grenade. A holy hand grenade creates if you go into a really amazing temple that has very high, rarefied, clear, clean energy. That's what the holy hand grenades are creating. These are various sizes of them that we're creating. It takes weeks to months to create these because they're done layer by layer by layer. And we have 24 or more hours for the resin, which is actually based on a tree resin, for it to solidify and form. Now, our different layers of metal here act as antennas. So different lengths and types of metal will pull in different types of emotional frequencies and different types of EMF frequencies. So if there's been a fight in the house or a lot of discontent or illness in the house, there's going to be an antenna and a holy hand grenade that can pull out that frequency. So a lot of a holy hand grenade is just a big antenna system pulling out all the types of frequencies and energies we don't want. Now this work right here, the mixing of the resin, this is where we make it or we break it. If it goes wrong with the resin, we lose the entire batch. Resin is about $100 a gallon or more. And so Mr. Gar here in the background in the blue shirt, he is the resin master. It's taken him about a year to really feel and connect with the resin, and we don't lose batches now. It's wonderful. So you can see behind a lot of the stacks of different metals and different types of crystals. This is a fully functioning manufacturing area. Now, this is a one of a kind that we're looking at right here. It's a big slab in which a big water filter goes on. It charges the water. It charges the water with light force energy. And what we were looking at just now is the making of solfeggio frequencies. We'll see a little bit more of that pretty soon. Solfeggios are different than orgone generators. They put out one specific frequency, which is magnetically recorded into iron oxide. They're like a cassette tape. There they are right there. They have a very small field. The field is only about 4 inches away from it. So this is something you keep in your pocket or tuck it in the side of your bra to receive a drip of that energy, like an IV drip all day long, where the holy hand grenades and stuff create a large field that you live in. So different uses, different ways that we can mitigate the energy around us, improve the feng shui of our home and of our life, and be a little bit more in charge, have a little bit more control of our health, our emotional state of being, and our evolution of consciousness. So here we are with some finished ones. This is certainly not complete, though. You can look at my website, which is crystalarrays.com, crystalarrays.com, which is actually incorrect in the chat right now, or incorrect on that list. And these are the ones the beekeepers use right here. These can also be used in your spice cabinet, the short ones, to keep your spices fresher longer, your teas fresher longer. You can also put them in, basically they extend the life force energy of, there we go, crystalarrays.com. And you can see more. You can actually see most of the line there. And under the solfeggio frequencies, we have ones that remove mold and fungus and Lyme disease and all kinds of things like that. There's a whole set of medical based ones that help with lupus, and a whole set of ones like 432 hertz, which is such a good feeling. It just kind of is a warm, fuzzy, lovely, clarified thinking frequency. It's just a lot. There's a lot. I am quite a number of years now into exploring frequency, the right frequencies, Wilhelm Reich's work. I have books all over the place. And actually we're pushing into Egyptian mathematics now. So we'll let you know when all that comes out, but we're starting to go back into the current epoch and pull out the best of, the mystics' knowledge and use to make a better world. And I have such appreciation for Gaia and the many gifts, all the metals, all the crystals, all this knowledge. This is how Gaia operates. And this is knowledge that's been gleaned from her that we can reproduce again on the surface. And I deeply appreciate our Earth Mother. And I'm not sure, how are we doing on time, Kathy? Oh, I can't hear you, dear.
I have to go to Omar as the maestro here to find out how we're doing on time. There we go.
Yeah, we got a couple more minutes to go before we bring Susanna on. We had a speaker that can't make it, so just kind of gonna extend Angie and Susanna. So,
Great.
I would say just a few more minutes. We'll go with the Q&A, and then we'll bring Susanna on. I just wanted to ask Angie on that big one that you were showing. What is the size of that? Because that just looks enormous, like in foots, right?
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
No, the black
the
one
base
that you
of
were
this.
showing, that square rectangular. Yeah, it really resonated with that one when I was looking at it.
That's
wow.
About 1.5 feet long, almost 2 feet, and maybe 8 inches wide, something like that.
Yeah, that's nice. It's very nice.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's a one of a kind. I do make some similar ones that big water jugs can sit on.
Mm-hmm.
They're shorter and broader, and they accommodate more types. That was for a very special water jug I happen to have, the long, narrow, thin one. But yeah, it's beautiful. It looks like an underwater seascape, and it puts out phenomenal energy. It's got 4 very large, fat, plump quartz crystals in it, which then recycle all the energy that all the different types of metals and stuff put in. Yeah.
Nice. Now, one of the things that all of us are fighting at this particular moment is 5G. And, and 5G is like literally like it's everywhere. It's on your phone. I actually have 3G on my phone because I refuse to go 5G. And, so how can, people work around that with crystals and such. But not
No,
only that, Angie, but if we look a
currently.
little bit into the future, by perhaps just a couple of years, 5D is going to be, or 5G is going to be the thing of the past, and they're going to be bringing in 6G, right? So can you give us a quick download and as to like how people can work around that and keep themselves safe while operating with this type of technology?
So right now we don't have a really great mitigation for it. I am working on some stuff. I have some prototypes going right now that I'm building, and we'll be testing that. We have instrumentations to test it, and we've isolated antennas, 5G antennas in this area, and we have EMF detectors and stuff. And we should be able, once the prototypes are made, finished, I should say, to be able to go out and test that and see if we're starting to hit the neighborhood of something that is going to help with the 5G. But in the meantime, what we can really do is bring our body up to its highest potential. So a lot of that means having plenty of fluids. We want to keep our cells all plumped out and not deflated. We want to keep our auric field plumped out and not deflated. If you don't know how to do that for yourself, you can go to your local healer. They'll clean your field, get all your chakras open and running and healthy. And with the chakras actually feed the auric field. The stronger and more firm the auric field is, the less it is influenced by the different EMFs that are coming in. And then the less that information is traveling into the cells and causing problems. So right now, controlling our own energy field is really one of the best mitigations there is for EMFs, other than straight out EMF blockers. And, even for then, you actually want to have like an EMF detector where you can measure, does this actually block the thing, or was that just the advertising and, maybe
Placebo effect, right?
mitigation?
I'm just going to say the placebo effect, right? The right,
Yeah.
got to be
It's
very
going to be
careful.
valid to some extent because we are fathers of, or we are the children of the Father, the prime source creator, who creates everything through the desire and will. Right. And so if our belief system is strong enough, this is mind over matter, and we can actually overwrite the existing physical reality or mitigate it. Placebo is a very real effect. So I'm a little bit, well, I'm a full-on mystic, but I also have a very scientific side. And so, I want to feel the effect of something in my body, in my auric field, and I want to be able to read it on some type of, device or, something as well. I want the two information sets to line up if possible.
That's really beautiful. I'm glad you said that because in the beginning of our conference today, I'd mentioned on how we can take the way of life of our ancestors and kind of incorporate it with the technologically advanced society that we've become, and how can we take these tools and incorporate them, and but yet still live the way our ancestors did and live very humbly and such, but it's still be able to enjoy the toys, right? Because without these computers and this technology, we wouldn't be able to have this conference and this conversation. So I'm really grateful for the fact that we have all of this. But so I'm really glad you mentioned that you're a mystic and also have that scientific side, because it's important to have both of those to fully understand, because that's what really science is missing, is the spirituality in it. And as soon as we add spirituality into it, then I think we'll begin to understand science at a much, much deeper level than we currently do.
Well, that's the balancing. We talk a lot about balancing the male and the female, or the divine male and the divine feminine. And, so that's really what we're seeing with this, right? The in the right brain is the spiritual center and the intuition and, all the psychic powers and all of that. But the left brain is that pragmatic, logical, must make sense, trackable, reproducible. And so when you put those two things together as a mystic, you can have amazing creations, which really work. So we didn't show the pictures of it, and I don't know if Kathy's there, but I got a download from Lemuria of a healing bed and how they layered different types of minerals and different types of rocks to extend the life force energy of their people, right?
Wow.
And they were living close to 1,000 years old at that point.
Hmm.
So very effective. And I got the download to how to build that. And so I built one. It's called the Orgone Generator Crystal Biobed, right? So that's exactly what you were talking about. So, I used mystical abilities to get the information. Oh, there we go. Mystical, abilities to get the information and then switch to the left brain, to the pragmatic, intelligent part. There it is. To be able then
Wow.
to create it and reproduce it, in the
Hmm.
third dimension. Yeah.
That is sick.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And for those
That is sick. Wow.
so
uh,
for those who are psychic, you can probably feel the energy coming off of that. It actually powers a very large area with cosmic energy.
wow. That is amazing. Never seen anything like it before.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a one of a kind. The
Yeah.
U.S. Patent Office actually approached me to patent it, right? They wanted to patent it. That never happens. They never
Hmm.
approach people to, you have to file and it's a big deal and it takes years and it costs fortunes. And so that was extraordinary that they came to me. But what happens is once you have a patent, then, you're full time trying to protect your patent and make sure nobody's, reproducing it and blah. And I just didn't even want to go down that road. I'd
Yeah. Can't
rather
blame you.
just own it. It's the only one in the world. And I don't have to spend all the hours of my day making sure nobody's infringing on my patent. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And you
actually
see,
turned
right?
it down, but that kind of tells you um, how interesting that Orgone Generator Crystal Biobed actually is. Yeah.
Yeah, when it gets the attention of the medical mafia, then you're on the right track, and good on you for not patenting it because if you did, then that really invites the pharmaceuticals to try to come in and to mess with you and to try to hijack you, cancel you, and all of that, so they can take possession of your intellectual technology, right? Because that's really what that
That's
is
what they do.
future technology, that was used in our past, and amazing. So yeah, good on you, Eric. Thoughts on this, because this is like right up your alley, Star Sister, because you make this type of stuff as well. So I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. So yeah, let's hear a thought from you.
Oh yeah, on a much smaller scale though, to be sure. And just really started experimenting maybe about a year ago. But being able to vet the energies and the different vortexes that come off of them is really important. And having an EMF, something to measure that, is really important too. Otherwise, you're just taking it, it's like, yeah, this is really powerful. And then you talked about the placebo. How much of that is true, and tested some of my own. I just earlier today came from a a type of scalar healing for 2 hours, and it uses light, biophoton energy along with the scalar energy, so it kind of combines those two. They were done by Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. So that was very, very powerful. I'm not one to dip into the woo too quick in a public place. And yeah, you kind of have a little bit of a travel in that short 2 hours, but it's definitely been vetted. And making sure, like you said, making sure that you have the right combination of the type of crystal and the type of metal. And it can make a big difference, because I've tested some of mine.
It's very specific. It really needs laid down in a very distinct order, and all the metals need cleaned energetically and physically, and all the crystals have to be cleansed and blessed and charged. I mean, there's a huge amount of details. The difference between a lot of the Orgone generators, orgonite, that we're seeing available on the market, built by craftsmen, albeit very good ones. Some of those are so beautiful and amazing, versus mine, which put out just a lot of power, is palpable. And I've had, Orgone generator makers come and feel my stuff and go, oh, wow,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a huge difference. Even the image of the bed, even the images of those have an energy in and of themselves. And if you have an image of that, you can no, not evil. You can even transmute. You can pull that through just on the image. That has a resonance all in of its own. So
Right.
yeah, that's very powerful.
Yeah, psychic people can read the energy off of it just off the photographs. And in
Yep.
fact, I shop online a lot of times for some of the metals and some of the crystals, and I read it online with my hand. I can scan the energy of
Oh,
it and
wow.
make
So
determination.
what about overlaying some of the metals, because like copper and sterling silver have kind of relationship. So when you have like silver jewelry on, that's actually got a bit of copper in it, right? Is that accurate? Or
Not
I
that
know
I'm aware of.
I know there's like, it's like an alloy. It's not just silver because it's so soft. So
No,
they,
there's sterling silver. Sterling
right.
silver is an ally, yeah, or an alloy. I'm sorry.
It might be an ally too. So.
It's like, tantalum and hafalum, which are actually used on laser lenses. It has to do with some of the um, flash layering that they do on the laser optic lenses and stuff. That's an aluminum alloy, but an extreme hybrid. And it does have a different energy flow and a different effect than straight up aluminum. And then when you get into the brasses and the bronzes, there's thousands of recipes of how to make brass and bronze, and that all of those, like my favorite brasses that I can get for the orgone generators, I'm actually getting scrap from the British Naval Shipyard because they have the highest vibration frequency brass that I can find anywhere in the world, right? And for my copper, I like India. India really has a beautiful way of working with copper that's very high frequency. So all these recipes on the different metals and how they're processed and how they're used has a frequency and a clarity or muddiness and lack thereof. Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a closing question, Angie. I wonder if you do this. We're all individuals. We're all different. Each and every single one of us have a different, frequency code, so to say. Now, because we're all different individuals, do you make these, devices tailor-made for each individual? Like, like for instance, you would like read my energy and say, okay, well, I kind of feel that this will work best for you, and then just individually tailor make something directly for the person instead of
I
like
have
a
under
general
special,
approach.
yeah, I have under special circumstances, but it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I'm a psychic.
Mhm.
I'm a psychic surgeon. I regularly see clients, and I'm also the founder of the Inner Passage Mystery School. So, in addition to the manufacturing, which is what we highlighted today, I only do manufacturing one time a week. And so custom made pieces are going to be costly. So, but yes, if somebody really wants to go that way. Now, the holy hand grenade, which is, Kathy will show us one. There we go, the holy hand grenade. I've actually done a lot of testing with the crystals and stuff that are in that one. And that one is very very generic in that it's great energy for all people. I haven't yet run into somebody. I've run into people that it was too powerful for. And I have one person who has it locked in an ammo box in their garage and still can feel the energy in their house. That's an extreme case, though. Not
Wow.
true for most people. So
Yeah.
it has been too strong for a few people, but the cocktail of crystals that are married together in that has been very good for everybody.
This is the baby and this is the mommy.
Yeah. So the one that the big one, Kathy has, only 4 of those were ever made. That's a specialty. So every now and then I will do a specialty one, and usually the local people here grab those up but people have called me, on the phone and say, "Hey, do you have anything special? A specialty one sitting on the side," and then I'll ship that to them. So yeah. So that's a brilliant piece of, and it puts out amazing energy. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Reverend Angie LaRue. Thank you very much for this amazing download and awareness-raising session that we just had here. A lot of things that we just learned. I myself just learned that with the metals and such that can be involved with crystals and that they can energize off of one another. So that's very cool. I like that. I like the fact that my own awareness was raised.
Yeah, there's a level on the path of consciousness that we sometimes enter in some lifetimes where we go into alchemy. And apparently this life was my time to go into alchemy. So that's what we're seeing here.
I also want
Maybe
to
we're all
say
gonna...
I wanted to say something about
Go ahead, Kat.
the beautiful device on the side of Angie that when I'm there, I actually feel like a hobo warming my hands over this barrel. It's unbelievable. I'm sure I don't know how many miles that energy goes, but it is awesome. I mean, I love these, but I really love that.
My roommate and I love one of our practical jokes that we like to do is we'll have energy sensitive people put their heads over the pipes, the 4 pipes, and it just blows you out, and they stagger away and go, "What did you do to me?"
It's that strong.
Awesome. Thank you, and thank you very much, Reverend Angie LaRue. Guys, go and drop a visit to crystalarrays.com. Thank you to the moderators for posting the links in the chat room. And the links are also available in Facebook, where we are also streaming. So check that out. And so thank you, Angie. I really appreciate this awareness-raising session. And thank you, Kathy, for bringing Angie on.